Up next on Eco Company.
One teen's mission to plant 1 million trees.
We're just trying to plant trees to combat global climate change, and we want to have the biggest impact possible.
It's a goal so big, Brendan thought he'd lend a hand.
Plus, planting the seeds of change.
It's a plant that can be turned into an alternative fuel, and we are decided to give them to subsistence farmers in India who grow tobacco.
The teens bringing greener farming to southern India, and you won't believe what this plant can do.
Then, taking the runway by storm. Meet the teens behind leftover green beans. Two designers who prove going green is always in fashion.
And spreading the word about climate change.
I'm very excited to talk to you today about climate change because it's both the biggest problem and the biggest opportunity that all of us face.
How one teen is doing it across the globe. Eco Company
starts now.
Hey gang, thanks for tuning into Eco Company. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jordan. This week's show is all about teens making a difference.
From traveling across the globe to talk about climate change,
to planting trees in their neighborhoods,
and even creating a recycled fashion line.
They're greening up the world around them.
First up, Jessica's talking to some teens planting the seeds of change.
This is South India, a place where fields of green dot the countryside. It's also a place near and dear to Darsha Shivakumar and his sister Apurva Rangan. They're co-founders of Project Jatropha.
It's an international collaboration dedicated towards alleviating rural poverty and environmental destruction in rural South India that's caused by tobacco farming by promoting the plant Jatropha curcus. It's a biofuel shrub.
These teens from Pleasant Hill, California started the nonprofit in 2007 after visiting the region and seeing the deforestation caused by producing tobacco.
You notice each year that chunks of the edge of the forest just go away. They're just chopped down. And we found out that it's due to tobacco farming, which a lot of the farmers do. I mean, it's these huge, huge fields of tobacco. And we found out that they have to cure the tobacco, so they buy firewood, harvest it illegally from the forest, which is having a really adverse effect on the forest itself. And that releases obviously a ton of emissions into the air. These farmers have to grow tobacco because it's the only crop that's being offered that can make any money. And for them, it's either grow tobacco or starve to death.
Their solution to the problem? The Jatropha plant.
It's a plant that can be turned into an alternative fuel, and we are decided to give them to subsistence farmers in India who grow tobacco, and we're planning on help them move to a more sustainable crop because their tobacco production must be cut by 50% by 2020.
It all comes down to the seeds.
The seeds are actually 30+% oil, which is really, really high, and it can be converted very easily into a biofuel. The remaining seed, the case, it's easy to convert to a very cheap organic fertilizer that's very good. Or you can extract biogas from that and burn that as well. This here is the Project Jatropha team reporting.
They brought their video camera along on their recent visit to Labland Biotech, one of their partners.
So this is the final biodiesel? The raw biofuel can be run in any stationary thing like a generator, but if you want to use a moving vehicle, you gotta just do a very simple chemical process. And the leftovers of the chemical process, glycerin, can be sold to pharmaceutical companies as well. So every part of the conversion process is actually used here.
So far, they've worked with 54 farmers in the region to plant 13,000 seedlings, either as hedge crops or intercrop with tobacco.
We're slowly phasing out the tobacco.
But it hasn't been all smooth sailing.
Me and my sister were expecting oh, the farmers are gonna easily accept this, we're gonna have no trouble. And boy, were we mistaken. I mean, and rightfully so, I think we learned a lot from it because the farmers were very, very distrustful of us. Several issues. One, age. In Indian societies, age equals wisdom, and I was 13 and my sister was 12. Not exactly very, very convincing.
I spent a lot of time with the women, and I helped convince them to grow the plant, and that we are here for the long haul.
And so far, so good.
These seedlings right here, they've all had a decent amount of irrigation, and as you can see, there are definitely fruit there. In fact, some of the fruit are actually ripe. Jatropha, it's economically viable in this case, what it appears to be so far, and at the same time help save the environment, so it's a win-win.
They're also issuing a global call to youth. visiting schools where they're encouraging students to get involved too.
What we need is more action right now because we're at a turning point for humanity.
Anyone can do anything to save this planet, like even if it's just like a small thing, like planting trees or recycling, it's going to make a difference. So everyone should try to do something because it's up to us to save the planet.
And they say the time to act is now.
If the environment dies, we die with it.
It's a message they hope inspires young people everywhere to plant their own seeds of change.
You can do more, you've got to do more, you've got to do whatever it takes.
Now, meet one teen on a mission of her own.
She wants to plant trees, and a lot of them.
1 million to be exact.
Brendan's catching up with her to lend a hand.
Trees. The Earth needs lots of them. They produce oxygen and help cut greenhouse gas emissions. And to plant one is easy. All it takes is some dirt, a few shovels, and a little muscle, something this crew has in spades. These gardeners are members of a local 4-H club, and they're planting trees in San Mateo, California, as a part of the 4-H club's Million Trees project.
Basically, we're just trying to plant trees to combat global climate change, and we want to have the biggest impact possible. So we're planting 1 million, and we're at about 70,000 now.
High school student and 4-H'er Laura Weber came up with the idea when she was just 13. Weber was inspired after watching former Vice President Al Gore's movie about climate change.
A couple years ago, I watched the movie An Inconvenient Truth, and at the end it said plant a tree. And I thought, well, one tree, that won't make that big of a difference. But if we planted a lot and if we got a lot of people involved, then it would make that impact that is quite necessary.
And thus, a movement was born.
We have about 24,000 kids involved already.
Wow. That includes high school students Annika Hallman and Jessica Blixlogan.
It makes me feel like I'm actually making a difference. I mean, I try to do as much as I can, but sometimes I'm just so busy. But it really makes me feel good to do this kind of thing.
Hopefully, if it continues to live, it will take some CO2 from the air and convert it back into oxygen, so it will help with the global climate change and hopefully reduce that a little bit.
So just how do trees fight climate change?
Well, a mature tree can absorb about 48 pounds per year of carbon dioxide.
Imagine what 1 million trees could do.
See, what we have to do is we have to mix in the compost with this dirt clay, because this dirt clay isn't very nutrient rich. Well, the compost provides a fair amount of nutrients for the tree. So that's why we mix them both together and plant them both together. And hopefully these trees will grow very strong.
This isn't Weber's first time to host a tree planting. Her first project kicked off in this grove along California's coast.
So tell us about this grove.
So we planted this in March of 2008 to sort of kick off the project. And so we have about 18 redwood trees here. The trees, they do a number of different things actually. They sequester atmospheric carbon dioxide, reducing the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And along other lines, they stop erosion with their roots, and they provide habitats for a number of different creatures.
Weber partnered with the Arbor Day Foundation to get a deal on trees for 4-H clubs across America.
The clubs involved, they have freedom what kind of trees they want to plant, where they want to plant. So it's really just providing the opportunity for people to go out there, giving motivation.
All the blue dots you see on the map are clubs doing their part to make it to 1 million. Back on Weber's home turf, the gang is ready to get the rest of these babies in the ground.
To have the trees, it's a bit prettier to start off, but then also to know that it is helping the environment as well. It's a good feeling, and I mean, it doesn't take that much effort, just a couple hours out of your day, and you'd get so much done.
Weber hopes this project inspires other teens to take action where they live.
And to be a part of your 1 million tree program, do they have to be a part of the 4-H program?
Not necessarily. We feel that if we inspire people to plant trees, they should count towards the goal.
She hopes to reach 1 million by the time she finishes high school.
Every day is a good day to plant a tree.
Plant a tree!
It's a new take on fashion.
Which isn't always so green.
What's going on in the world today is so detrimental to our Earth and to the planet that we wanted to find a way that we could help.
Up next, how these teens are tackling climate change by turning what's old into something new again.
And later, one teen taking center stage in the fight against climate change. Literally, this guy's taking the message across the world.
Two girls who love fashion.
And the environment.
Put the two together and you got a design team ready to green up the runway.
Jessica catches up with the fashionistas behind leftover green beans.
Meet Josy and Aza Ziegler, two teens with a passion for fashion.
We're really inspired by, Vogue editors from the past and photographers.
And the planet.
We feel that what's going on in the world today is so detrimental to our Earth and to the planet that we wanted to find a way that we could help.
These fashionistas from Northern California are doing just that by combining their love for both. They've created a fashion line called Leftover Green Beans.
Leftover Green Beans is our eco-clothing line. It stems kind of from an idea that what you wear can be completely fabulous and yet not take a toll on our planet.
Everything that we use is either organic fabric, vintage fabric, a lot of leftover pieces from different things, different fabrics. We use old tablecloths, dish towels, curtains, bedspreads, you name it. A lot of the crochet that we use, and this adds to the sentimental value of things, is crochet that my great-grandmother has made. We have bedspreads, we have doilies, we have tablecloths, we have everything.
We caught up with them a few weeks after a big photo shoot, showcasing their one-of-a-kind fashions for their new website.
These are some of your first designs, right?
These are some of our first designs. This one was actually our first dress.
We were asked to put a dress in a green fashion show in New York, and actually it's kind of how our line blossomed, but this is the first dress that we made, and we were so excited by this dress that we continued to make them. This is a old men's smoking jacket, and this lace up here is hand crocheted from my grandmother.
And then these buttons.
My mom, they're actually from my mom's wedding dress.
We have a lot of fun making the skirts and the dresses, and they're really girly and flirty and kind of very us.
Each piece they create is a labor of love.
We have a signature heart button on each of our pieces. This is actually the last piece we made. We made it just a few weeks ago, actually.
Actually, we made it the day before the photo shoot.
These inserts are actually from an old tablecloth.
This is from a bed skirt, right?
Yep.
A bed skirt, and it's also, the other piece of this is on another one of our tops.
So just where do they get all their materials?
From places like this. Let's go catch up with them and see what they found.
This design duo scours booths here, searching for hidden treasures.
The Alameda Flea Market is a really special place to us because what Leftover Green Beans is it's about reusing old materials such as vintage tablecloths and curtains and turning them into something completely fabulous.
Do you like this?
Yeah, that's really cute. I like that actually.
Do we want bigger ones or do we want?
I like all sizes.
Let's do the one that looks a little bolder. Coming here and searching through things and knowing that we found it and that it's reused is just a great feeling, and it's fun, and it's something it's like fabric no one's ever seen before.
We should, because it's gonna have to go around too unless we put side panels in.
It doesn't take long for them to wind up with some take me home treasures.
Can you tell me some of the things that you found?
We found this lace. It's like Venetian lace, she said, and we're thinking of doing sort of like a straight dress with it. It's a little stained, so we'll probably have to bleach it a little bit or do something of the sort.
Now it's to the studio to see their ideas really take shape.
We could just put these in between, even at random.
Mm-hmm. That would look gorgeous. And then we have all the buttons
for down the back.
Hey guys, what are you making?
We're using what we got at the flea market today, and we're going to make just a simple dress out of it.
I have a boat neck, straight dress. We're gonna use all the buttons and we're gonna put them down the back.
If this catches your eye, you'll be excited to hear this. These two also have plans to expand their line.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna create one pattern for each dress, and we're gonna find vintage fabrics, and we're gonna create that dress or that skirt or that top out of different fabric.
It's eco-friendly fashion that's ready for the runway.
That's cool. Watching your clothes come down and thinking and having people kind of gasp and think they're really amazing. That's kind of one of those feelings you can't get from very many things, and it's pretty cool.
So are you ready to take action to save the planet?
We met one teen already doing it.
Young people should realize that this is going to affect us, and we are the ones who can solve the problem.
Meet one of Al Gore's teen climate presenters.
Spreading the word about climate change across the globe.
Up next, meet a guy who does not know the meaning of the word stage fright.
He's been trained by Al Gore to speak to hundreds of people across our globe about our climate.
Even in China. He's on a mission to turn us on to the climate crisis, not just in the US, but across the globe.
I'm very excited to talk to you today about climate change because it's both the biggest problem and the biggest opportunity that all of us face.
Meet Taylor Francis, a high school student from Menlo Park, California.
The outdoor world is something that's very important to me, and so I'm very passionate about trying to work to protect it.
After a little training from former VP Al Gore, he's become a climate crusader for our generation.
The young people get this. I mean, we realize that this is our problem, and the only way we can solve it is if we take action.
Francis says the light bulb went on after watching Gore's movie, An Inconvenient Truth.
And what was so stunning to me was that I hadn't heard about global warming before. I mean, sure, it was real. I knew that, but I wasn't concerned about it. It wasn't something that seemed immediate in my life. So after I saw the movie, I wrote to Nashville, I wrote to the Climate Project and asked if I could be part of the training program. And even though they were mostly training adults, they agreed to train me.
Since then, he's brought the message to 20,000 people and counting, young and old alike, and some of them as far away as China.
People listen to a young person. I mean, at first it might seem a little weird, but they listen to us and they listen to people of our generation because we're the ones who are going to have to pay the consequences.
The slideshow talks about the science behind global warming and its consequences, like rising sea levels.
Because it gets worse every single day. You know, the ice caps are melting at a rate far faster than we thought even a few years ago. CO2 emissions are not beginning to be reduced.
So what's sending all those greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, causing the planet to warm up? Francis says it's not what, but who.
Because if you think about it, you wake up in the morning, you turn on the lights, you use air conditioning, you turn on your computer. All of those little actions that are a part of our daily lives are what are contributing to this problem.
The U.S. contributes its share of CO2 emissions to the global problem, but it's not alone.
China is now the biggest emitter of CO2. The only way we can solve this problem is if China and the United States act together.
Francis has already traveled to China to meet with young people there.
It was a really amazing experience. And what was so stunning to me about it was that they get it in China. There was no one in China asking me whether global warming is real. They all understand that this is a problem, and they're all beginning to take action.
So what action can we take?
You can go home and you can talk to your parents, and you can tell them that since our future is at stake, they need to take action in their home, and they'll listen to you. You can also have an impact in your school. School communities are a unique way to really affect your community at large. To get your school to go green, to get other students to go green, to get families to go green.
So from behind the microphone to spending time in the great outdoors, Francis knows keeping the planet as is will take the efforts of everyone. And he says we can all help lead the charge to get it done.
I think that young people should realize that this is going to affect us, and we are the ones who can solve the problem. This isn't far off. It's about our lives and our future.
Okay, we've shown you what other teens are doing to help the planet.
So what can you do?
Get involved. It's easy.
Here are just a few ways you can make a difference too.
Join your school's environmental club. Don't have one? Start one.
Already involved in other groups? Get your Girl Scout troop, 4-H club, or sports team involved too.
Hold green fundraisers, beach cleanups, or put on an eco-friendly fair at your school.
Another idea? Volunteer in your community. Grab a shovel and head outdoors. Plant some trees, restore native habitat, or clean up a city park.
Getting involved is easy.
You can make it happen.
Be eco-wise and be a part of the solution.
Well, that's it for us this week. Thanks for watching.
You can find us on Facebook.
And don't forget to check out our website at eco-company.tv.
We'll see you next time on Eco Company.